Welcome to Always a Pack podcast with George Kasfikis. Today I'm joined with the wonderful Jonny Raggett, who played Jimi Chen in Wolfblood. We discuss how Jonny started out in the industry, his big screen debut in The Lady, and how he unexpectedly landed the role of Jimi in Wolfblood. We'll go on to discuss Jonny's journey through Wolfblood and projects that he has worked on more recently. This is Always a Pack podcast. So we're going to be talking a bit about some of the stuff you did pre-Wolfblood and then sort of talking about how you got into acting in the first place. So, I mean, how did you start off acting?
It was at school, like most people, to be honest. I did, let's think about this. So our first ever production would have been year 6. So I went and did, I played Dandy Dan out of Bugsy Malone.
Oh, nice.
And I absolutely loved it because that may have been the first hint of that I liked being a villain.
Oh, right, yeah. You'll be wearing a wooden overcoat, buddy.
Yeah. And then, so I kind of got the taste of it and we had like Silly String and it was a lot of fun. And then I knew that was something that I liked to explore because I've always been quite a fidgety kid. And like as a kid, I was very energetic and I was on the move. And the idea of sitting in a classroom for 6 hours a day was it was torture at times. So drama was one of the only classes apart from PE, obviously, where you could get up and move and kind of express yourself through your body rather than just sit there and work out equations and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got to secondary school. I was still before that. I actually wanted to be a jockey, a flat race jockey.
Oh, nice.
Didn't
see it at the Grand National then.
Yeah. Well, no, I would have been. I don't know if I would have done the jumps.
All right.
But I wanted to be more like Frankie Dettori, who was just like bombing it down the flat racing.
Oh, nice.
And I was probably the right size, to be honest.
It would be no good for me. I'm about 6'4".
Yeah, I'm about 5'5".
Yeah.
On a good day, let's say.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we did the track, and then you were like, "Bloody hell, George, you're tall."
Yeah, I know. You were like, "Johnny, you look taller on screen." I was like, yeah. I've had that before.
That's the thing with That's the thing with a cast. When you look at the Wolfblood cast, I mean, all of you are all of you are under 6 foot, aren't you? So I mean,
yeah, I think Kedar's the only one that's probably over 6 foot, and Sam Fender.
Oh yeah, Sam.
Sam was really tall. But apart from that, no, I think like Amy's tiny. She's like 5'1".
Yeah. I mean, you look at when Alric came, Alan and that. He was really tall, so he was like towered over here.
Yeah, he really did make a good like villain because he was so overpowering. So basically, I then discovered acting more when I was at secondary school, and I basically I did this kind of after school theatre program. And I got a letter about 2 months after doing it from the director just saying an agent, a friend of his is coming into town. Do you want to audition to get an agent? And I was like, sure. I mean, I've got nothing to lose. I'll go to a workshop. No. Why not? Wouldn't say no. And his name was, am I allowed to say agents and everything?
Oh, of course. I'm
not. I'm not slating him. Mark Germain. He was a good kids agent. He's got loads of like musical theatre schools, very big in Wales and along the south coast of England. He may have expanded by now. I'm sure he has. This was I mean, I was with him when I was 15 to 21. So yeah, it's just a long time ago. And he got me all my first big jobs, to be honest. And my secondary school were very accepting, as was my college when I went in to do A-level drama and A-level music. So very creative, and photography actually. Okay. So I was like, I got asked, "Are you sure you want to do all these creative modules? Because you might be a bit overwhelmed." And then so they were always letting me go to auditions, which was very kind of them. Like if I came in and was like, I've got an audition tomorrow. Can I leave school half day early? And they were like, yeah. And I got adverts, and I started realizing that there's money in performing, which I didn't realize. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, rub your hands together.
Let's pursue this. So that's kind of how I got into it. I wouldn't say that I've always wanted to do it, in the sense, like, you hear some actors, they're like, I was born to be an actor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was necessarily born to be an actor. I loved acting, and I loved the performing side, and I loved the kind of outgoingness and the connecting with other human beings and that kind of energy. And then I discovered my passion, because in a way that's kind of how passions are discovered. In a way, they say you're born with a passion, discovered, but I'm like, well, yes and no. You're kind of more about, you find what brings you joy, you find what you gives you enjoyment and everything, and then once you pursue it and you get more disciplined in it, and you'll be like, okay, now it's a passion, it's something I'm going to follow. And that's kind of how I would say I got into acting.
Definitely, because you want to have a job that makes you want to get out of bed on a Monday morning and then sort of think, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to excel at it, and I'm really going to sort of, push at it. So yeah, Johnny, I can totally understand that. And exactly, I mean, there's nothing more sort of depressing than having to go to a job you don't want to do, and you'd rather be somewhere else. So yeah,
I'm sure plenty of people sadly are stuck in that position, but I wish them well, and I hope that they can find something that brings them a bit more fulfillment and enjoyment.
Definitely. And also, a lot of people have to maybe do a job for a few years that they don't want to do to get somewhere, later down the line, just to fund just to fund the sort of career moves at the minute. So yeah, anyway, Johnny, so we'll get on to your first big screen appearance, which was The Lady. What was that like? That looked like, I haven't seen it yet, but I've watched clips of it. It looks absolutely brilliant, and I'm into politics and that. So
I think you'd enjoy it. It's quite a hard hitting film.
Yeah.
We filmed that. So I got cast when I was 17, and to my shame, my brother will always pull me up for this. I went in the third round of the audition. I went up to London, and I said to my brother, I'm going to meet this director called Luc Besson. Don't know who he is. I was very green to the industry when I was a teenager. I didn't necessarily concentrate on finding out who directors were, who producers were, who the actors were, following their career paths. I was just naive, to be honest. So I went and was like, I'm gonna go meet this guy called Luc Besson, and my brother went, are you fucking serious? And I met him, and it didn't even feel like an audition. It just felt like a chat. He just kind of wanted to get to know me. Yeah, he wanted to know my height. He asked me, can I cry on demand? And I said I could.
Get the onions ready, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that age, I hadn't mastered it in any way, shape, or form. My empathy levels were not where they are now, for example. And obviously, with experience, you kind of then have more things to pull on.
Definitely. And also, Johnny, as well, when you look at a script, obviously, say if you're reading a script and it sort of provokes the emotions, it's a lot easier to cry on demand. Say if you're reading something and you're in costume and you're sort of there in it and you're really stuck in it, rather than going into an audition and saying cry now. You know what I mean? So it's,
absolutely. And the script for The Lady was great. I mean, I didn't see a final cut until much later, and Luke was forever changing it on set. And so he cast me, because once you put the wig on, I put their wig on, which was this kind of mushroom cut. I saw a picture of Kim Ayres, excuse me, and with me there and then the wig on, it was kind of uncanny, as you guys say up north. It was actually quite freaky, to be honest, because I was like, I didn't think I looked like this guy at all. And then as soon as they put me in the kind of 80s outfit, a wig, and then I was kind of posing like he did, I was like, oh wow, this is actually, I can see why they thought, you could play him. And it was an amazing experience. Honestly, I will be forever grateful to Luc Besson and Virginie Besson, his wife, who's a producer of it, for casting me, and Charles Salmon, who was the what's the company? Were they Left Bank? I think they were called Left Bank Productions, or they were the big UK side of it.
Oh, brilliant.
No, that was not Charles Salmon. Sorry, Charles Salmon was Trafficker. Edit that
out.
Cool. His name escapes me right now. That's actually shameful.
Oh, no bother.
honestly, the experience, and obviously this was the biggest set to even in my career now that I've actually been on, budget wise, production wise, the fact that after filming in Thailand, they built Aung San Suu Kyi's house off like 7 Google images,
really,
to a complete replica of the house in this like middle of outskirts of Thailand, of Bangkok. And then they CGI'd the lake in to make it look like it actually is in Burma. And that was our set for a month. And the fact that they just tore it down afterwards was such a shame, because we all said you should leave it there as a memento to Aung San Suu Kyi, because a lot of Burmese people and a lot of people in that area would like to come and see that as a kind of homage to her, because she's such a big figure out in Myanmar. And I think she's been arrested again, but let's not get into politics right now.
But we can't see dreadful what happened to the Rohingya people and
mate, it was really awful. I had a lot of people from Myanmar messaging me being like, oh, Kim, can you send out a shout out? And I apart from like donating to charities and stuff, I felt so helpless, because it was like I'm on the other side of the world. I can try and raise awareness of what's going over there to the best of my ability, but honestly, it was tragic, and the way Aung San Suu Kyi was being blamed for it, I think, was a little bit unfair, to be honest, because she has no power over the military. Even as the elected leader, the military always had power over there. Always. I'm certain I was blacklisted from Burma for a while. I may still be. I don't know.
Well, I suppose if you want a big film like that, and obviously people, the military might not be too happy about you.
I know that Luke, Virginie, and Michelle Yeoh, David Thewlis, they were all blacklisted straight away. There's a shot in the film where they're in the helicopter, and that is actually Burma that they're filming. And the pilot kept saying, we need to turn around because we are now in Burmese airspace and we will get shot down.
Oh yeah,
Luke was like, 20 seconds. Yeah, Luke was like, 20 seconds, until the pilot just went, no, I'm not risking it anymore, and actually physically ignored Luke and turned around. But that was an amazing experience. And then filming in Paris in his studios and getting tours and everything, it was an amazing experience. Turning 18 in Thailand on set was different, but I wouldn't take it back for the world.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And I mean, working with David Thewlis as well, I mean, he's an absolute brilliant actor. I mean, what was it like working with him? Yeah, he's
actually, from what I remember, bear in mind this is 10 years ago now, so I one day I hope to work with him again, and all of them. He was really fun, to be honest. He's a really big personality, just generally a really fun guy. Like he encouraged us pranking each other while we were filming and trying to put each other off. The best story I have of that is there's a scene it's the Nobel Peace Prize scene, and Jonathan, who played my brother, goes up to the podium and like makes a speech. And throughout the day, there was an extra who she was playing like the Queen of Norway or the Duchess of Norway, some kind of regal part. And she really took it to heart. She really took it to heart. All day
really
she was
got
walking around. Oh, mate, she was method all day, and it was really funny. Because it was like honestly, darling, you're going to be on screen for like 3 seconds, if that. And she was walking around all regal and whatever, but she was giving the actor Jonathan, who played my brother, the eye all day.
Really?
Yeah, all day. So David was like, let's play with this. Let's see how far we can push this.
Yeah.
So what we did is all David did with his left hand, being right-handed, was write a mobile number, which was a number of his friend who he'd already called, and it's like, if this number gets called, can you pretend to be this extra woman and like flirt with him if he calls? And then he just put from Queenie, kiss kiss, and then it was like ripped from a program. So what we did is, when he wasn't looking, I then went to where she was sat and swapped the programs over.
Okay.
So then the rip was from her program, like looked like from her program and not ours. And then what David did is he then left it on the podium in front of his script.
Right.
So then when he walks up to the podium, he looks down and he just sees the note, and he's like, he's doing his, because bless him, like I think back on it, it's not fair to do this to someone when they're stressing about a speech and there's like 200 people in the room. Yeah. They're really worried about getting the lines right, and then suddenly they see this like so-called love note of like, "Oh, call me," and it was hilarious because we were just sitting there giggling all day. And David Thewlis is, for that, I will always remember that story because it was so funny. He was not happy with us, Jonathan, but it was funny, man.
It was funny, yeah. I mean, yeah, and he was great because I mean, he would have been quite big then because he would have just come out of doing the Harry Potter films when he was
he was Professor Lupin. I obviously knew who he was. I obviously knew who Michelle Yeoh was because now Asian representation is getting better, but obviously Michelle Yeoh is one of the biggest stars still. And Benny Wong, who I met, who is very professional, super professional. Benedict Wong. I have the utmost respect for him and Michelle. All of them. Like I learned a lot off all three of them of how to, acting wise, and also just professionalism on set and what to do, what not to do. Obviously you can have fun and play around, but always kind of be aware as well.
Know what the right time for the right sort of doing the right
completely.
time for things, definitely. But Johnny, it looked like a fantastic film, and I'm definitely going to give that a watch. And I imagine that was quite sort of big thing for you as well. I mean, just sort of one of your first big acting roles, and then it was probably one of the biggest things you've ever done.
It still till to this day is still. I mean, Wolfblood was big in a very different way. But the lady I couldn't tell my college where I was going.
Really?
I got the part.
Secret.
It was so secretive. I just had to say I'm leaving, and all I could say was Luc Besson's director, and I'm going to Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
For a month. And they were like, can you say where and why? And I was like, I'm filming. So they're like, okay. And I can't tell you where I'm going.
Top secret.
And I can't tell you what the film's about. All I can say is who the director is and where I'm going. And will you let me go? There was the music department weren't very happy, but the acting department were like, yeah, sure, go, of course.
Go and throw yourself into it.
Yeah, and the head of the college, Sussex Downs College in Lewes, if anyone's listening from that area. Little plug for my old college. I always recommend them.
Yeah, brilliant, Johnny. And then obviously you got into something a bit different after that. You were in Daddy's house for what was it, for an episode?
Yes, I played Kashuru, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Yes, the Japanese, not Japanese guy.
Yeah.
So
what was it like with Danny Harmer? Was it?
She was great. She had a. Bless her, she had a cold. Bless her, she was ill when I met her.
Oh, really?
She was really under the weather. So she was kind of like, oh, Johnny, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm normally a lot more energetic than this. I'm just not feeling great this weekend. So I ended up playing ping pong with one of the other co-stars. I can't remember his name now. Like, honestly, it completely escapes me. I'm so bad sometimes. But
it's about 10 years ago, Johnny. I mean, I remember watching Daddy's house when it was on the telly, and I would have been about 11 or something then. So
yeah, exactly.
When it was on
TV,
I mean, that was a while ago.
It was I knew not many times have I gone into the audition room and gone and left and gone, yeah, that's mine. Because I went in and I had to do this kind of Japanese accent, right? But the character was written so like silly. And the whole episode was just silly, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so if I just do an exaggerated Japanese accent here, where it's a bit comedic, it's clearly not serious.
Yeah.
So I do apologize to the whole Japanese community if anyone thought I was being serious. And that's how I generally thought that you guys spoke, because I know you don't. It was just to add a little tut at the end of any TA and adding like "neh" when they ask questions. And this was before I even got into anime, like truly, because now I'm a huge anime fan and I love it. So I would be a lot more careful. But it was just kind of a joke. And obviously what made it acceptable and not offensive was the fact that he was lying the whole time. The whole joke is that he's never been to Japan. So it was like, oh, he's this guy. Everyone thinks he's Japanese, but he's not. So I think that's why we got away with it. I don't know if in 2021 you could do that now.
Probably not get away with it, but
probably not get away with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you couldn't then, but you know what.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same. Like 2 years after my favorite film of all time is Tropic Thunder, my comedy film.
All right, yeah.
That is between me and the Wolfblood guys of Nam, Kedar, Bobby, and myself and Neek. because we all used to live together. That
Uh-huh.
film we used to watch on repeat all the time.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, Johnny. I mean, yeah, it sounds like you had a lot of good fun on it. And obviously, well, I've been watching. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been watching James May Armad in Japan. It was on Amazon, and he basically going around Japan, and that was really interesting. And so I know a bit of Japanese there from Sumimasen and all the things he was going around. And it was quite funny actually. He was on a train at one point, and they were like demonstrating that it was all for sort of marketing. And then he actually, it was like a really, really, you know what, the Japanese railways are like absolutely exceptional. And basically he was eating a bit of this really sort of expensive sushi, but it was only meant to be for photography, but he actually ate it. So he had to go around all the chefs in the train and apologize to them in Japanese. So it was, but that was great. I got really 2 hours to Japan. It was really interesting.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. So yeah, Johnny. Anyway, so there we go. So you got from that, and then did that get in Danny's house? Did that sort of get your foot in the door for CBBC, and then potentially sort of
I'd like to think so.
Yeah,
I'd like to think so. That definitely probably helped in the CBBC avenue. I know that the BBC are quite good at using actors that they've used before.
Yeah.
I know they like to. So it's I think that partly. I mean, there's a different casting director. It definitely wasn't Kathy for Danny's house, but it was the audition process for Wolfblood. I wasn't going to go.
Really, what happened then, Johnny?
Yeah. So the inside scoop, is that I saw the character was called Mohinder.
Yeah, I've heard this. They were chatting about this because initially they weren't looking for someone at sort of Hong Kong or.
No, they definitely wanted a 6-foot-ish Indian bully archetype. That's kind of what they wanted. They wanted the kind of archetypal big gym jock, but they wanted to obviously have a minority do it. So I saw the breakdown and I was like, listen, I can play many different Southeast Asians. South Asian, I can't get away with that.
Yeah,
I can't get away with being Indian. And so I was like, what's the point of me going? And my dad, and I will always forever be grateful for this, because Wolfblood did change my life. And my dad went, just go. They've asked for you, just go. You never know. They've asked to see you. What's the worst that can happen? It's 3 or 4 hours at a time. You got nothing to lose. And I went there and I spoke to Catherine Willis. Shout out to Kathy Willis if you're listening. She is my favorite cast director by far. She's amazing. She's always has been. She's so supportive, and I know that Wolfblood was always her like little. She got us all together, and we all gelled so well. And Kathy is a very big player of the reason for that to happen. And she really liked me, and she brought me in for the recall. And I honestly thought I didn't do well in the recall. They made me act against this. I just remember him being blonde, right? And I'm almost certain I made him cry.
Yeah.
I remember looking at him going, oh my God, did I really lay into him?
Yeah.
And I was like, I went too far. I went too far.
What did you have to do, Johnny? Did you have to like? Was it a bit of?
Do you know? I don't even remember the scene. The scene was. I just remember the scene was like he was just really, really mean to this other person.
Yeah.
And I obviously just went, yeah, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And it was Foz Wilson Clare, who was the head director of the first block of the first season, and Kathy Willis. And Kathy left at the beginning of the audition. I'll always remember this because I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, you're living with these 2 guys. And Foz, if you don't know him.
Yeah, Foz Allen, I know, yeah.
Foz Allen, yeah. He has a big aura. It can be, he's very professional. He's an amazing producer, right? But if you don't know him initially, you'll be like, oh,
a bit taken back,
you might be taken back. Same as Luc Besson, very kind of not intimidating, but like big aura. And then as soon as you get to know them, they're softies, man. They're amazing people. They're kind-hearted. But it was like, so I was in the room, just like, and they called me up like 4 days later, be like, can you get to Newcastle in like tomorrow?
Were you down in Brighton at this point?
Yeah, I'm down in Brighton.
You're right at the end of the country, basically.
I'm right in the down the other end of the country. I couldn't be further away from Newcastle. Down south. You got it.
Yeah.
And they're like, can you come up to Newcastle tomorrow? And I was like, sure. For how long? We're like, we're not really sure. Just bring a suitcase, come up to Newcastle. We're going to see what happens. And I was like, okay. And then I found out they'd completely rewritten the part for me, which I'm still honored by. Because to rewrite a part is pretty unheard of, in my opinion.
It's a big thing for them to do.
Yeah.
They must have really been after you, Johnny.
They really like. I did something that they liked, and I'm forever grateful and appreciative, because those 3 years, honestly, were the best years that of my life. They changed everything. They gave me my best friends to this date.
You sort of said it was like university, didn't you? It was like university.
Yeah,
for you.
For me, it was kind of like uni, because I took a gap year and I worked in a pub down in Brighton. I've always worked in hospitality on the side, like making cocktails and stuff. And I was just kind of trying to figure out what was I going to do. I was like, am I going to go to drama uni? I didn't want to go straight to uni. I was like, I'll take a year out. And it would have been what? February, March time. So I had a gap year already. Yeah, so I'd been on my gap year already for like 6 months or so. So I was starting to get itchy. I was like, okay, open days are starting. And then I got this, and I was like, for 3 months I was filming that, and I was like, okay. We didn't know if it was going to get picked up after the first season, but I was like, okay, this is a promising start.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did, and it was like my university. 3 years being thrown in a house of strangers that you don't know at first.
Yeah, because you said you moved in with everybody, didn't you? Moved in with Bobby and Dom. And
yeah. So I arrived in this
very long
beautiful house. Yeah, very long.
Got the train up.
Yeah. Got the train up. 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
I arrive in Newcastle. I get picked up from the taxi that they've arranged. The guy doesn't even know the address because these new builds. I rock up and I was like, this can't be the house they're putting me in. Are you being serious? It was a big. It was on a street called Mansion Heights, to give you an idea of the size of the houses. Yeah, over. And it's they're these big 4-bedroom houses with a garden and everything. I was like, Jesus, this is nice. And I then met Kedar and Nam, because they've been cast. Bobby was the last person to get cast.
I remember him saying, he walked into the room or something, and everyone had already been cast. So
he walked into the table. It was that morning of the table read. So the table, if people don't know, the table reads are when the whole cast and crew for the first time sit down and read the scripts, and hear each other's voices for the first time. Because obviously before then, everyone's read a script, but they've only read it, so you haven't heard how people are going to perform it. Actors are always going to give you a slightly different performance than sometimes you think, and that might work, it might not. It's a time for the writers to sit in the room and go, oh, that joke doesn't work, or that joke does work, tick, and they can make any final edits. And Bobby, we're all sat there, and Bobby walks in at like 11:30, so God knows what time he left London or Essex to get there. Walks in, long hair, looking a bit scraggly, and we all, like, he walks in, we all just stare at him and go, that's brilliant. And then the kind of the rest is history, really. He then moves into the house, and the first weekend, me and him go on a pub crawl. And
what did you go to Newcastle?
No, we stayed in. Is it Bladen?
Wickham, I think.
No, Wickham.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I used to have a mate that used to live around Mansion Heights and that. So it was funny. It just would have lived around the corner from you there. So there we go. So you've been all cast, and then everything's sort of ready to go. So first day of filming and sort of getting into it, Johnny. What do you think? Your first days on set.
First day. I still have, there's a poem that I made for Louisa's poem that I made when I talk about my first day of walking into set, when there was the green room and Louisa and Kedar were dancing on the Wii. And I just remember Louisa coming up to me going, hi, and she was this mass ball of energy. And I kind of was just like, it was the first time, because it was for me as well, it was the first time I'd worked with a cast of my age group. Because obviously the lady, they were all much older.
Yeah.
Even the actor that played my brother, all the adverts I'd done, there were kind of people around, but there was always like 1 day shoot or 2 day shoot. So you didn't really get to know anyone. This was the first time I was going to spend a significant amount of time with other actors of my age. And more importantly, as I've learned from all of them, that none of them have been to drama school. They've been to like academies like I had when we were younger as teenagers, but we'd all kind of decided to see if we can make it on our own. And I we all just clicked, mate. It doesn't happen a lot on not always. It's rarity. Like one of my favorite podcasts, and I'll definitely give them a plug, is Fake Doctors, Real Friends. The Donald Faison and Zach Braff for Scrubs. And in a way, you could kind of tell, even more so maybe with Scrubs, but because they had even longer. But the way that the cast connected came through on camera, because even though like me and Jimmy and Ridian were arch rivals, that was Jimmy's own making, but we were friends behind it. So even though we were playing enemies, we were still kind of joking around off as soon as the cameras were off, weren't rolling.
Yeah, well, I said to you, Johnny, before, I mean, when you've got to work with someone who you really sort of dislike on screen, and obviously Ridian and Jimmy hated each other's guts a lot of the time. So basically, you've got to work very closely with that person to make it work in the first place, haven't you? I mean,
because ironically, you're going to be working together a lot because you're in scenes where you hate each other.
Exactly.
But we clicked almost straight away. Bobby is still by far my best mate. We have always been friends ever since. And I am very grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, I say, you have a great rapport with them when you are like chatting.
Yeah.
You know, when we're on the track and that, and you sort of tell that you have like a great relationship and good bit of banter. So yeah, well, obviously in start of series 1, there's the infamous leak incident.
Oh yeah,
in the corridor. So I remember. So if you talk us through what happened with that. What was it
Bobby
like?
Bobby threw it really, I'm gonna really fucking hard.
He said, you know what he said to me actually? He said,
I
absolutely pelted at him, George.
Yeah, and he didn't just do it once. He pelted me at least 3 times, and at least twice he threw it as hard as he fucking could.
Yeah, well, it looks good on screen.
Oh, I'm sure it does, because my reaction when I flinch is genuine, because that thing hurt. I didn't know leaks could hurt that much when you lobbed it at someone, but hey ho. So that was, Bobby really enjoyed doing that. Absolutely enjoyed doing that.
It was a great scene. It's probably one of the most iconic scenes in Wolfblood, to be honest. So this sums up Ridian and Jimmy's relationship.
Yeah, and it was like day 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would have been one of probably the first scenes, because it's in Lone Wolf, which is the first episode. So that sort of sums up the relationship for Ridian and Jimmy for the rest of the series. But it was got a good, I think, got a good reaction, and at least you weren't too concussed after doing it.
Well, he hit me in the back. Thankfully, he didn't throw me in the back of my head.
But I know. And then you said that the way they sort of did it was they had like a crash mat, so they sort of like lowered you on the crash mat, and then like Bobby sort of like
when he jumps on me.
When he goes
so that was because he jumps over the desk, doesn't he?
No, that's it. That was in another episode where you got no Wolf, it's in the corridor, can you remember? And then you sort of throws it down the corridor, and then you turn around and go for him, and then he goes
that's it. Yeah, we had to, obviously we need stunt guys to come in and like just make choreographers just to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
And you kind of, obviously you need a crash mat, and we kind of practiced catching him. So as soon as like any kind of stunt work, because I've done quite a bit of stunt work, and it's actually more on, I don't know if people, I'm going to give an insider's got story here, but basically it's actually when acting any kind of violent scene or being punched or anything like that, or being attacked, the actual work is on is for the victim, not the aggressor. Because if you get slapped, it's all about the reaction from the person that gets slapped. Or when Bobby jumped on me, I had to make sure I'm lowering myself properly and landing properly and making sure my chin was tucked in, so I wasn't giving myself whiplash. And there's all these little safety protocols. And also like one of the easy thing of like hair pulling is it's all on the victim's face, because the aggressor's not doing anything. They're just making a ball like that on the back of their head.
Just clamping the hands together.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the little trick when it comes to any kind of stunt work.
Definitely. I mean, Johnny, I've done some stuff like that with some First World War stuff. I've done like battles and that, and where I've been shot and that, and it's actually, when you sort of go through it, it's sort of like almost sort of like a dance. I mean, you've got to really choreograph it and work with the other person. So that means that, you know, it looks realistic, but also it's sort of safe to do in the first place as well. So I can imagine that was some good fun doing some stunt work and that. So yeah,
absolutely.
So also as well, Jonny had a bit of a bad relationship with Shannon as well in the first series, sort of bullying her, you know, by the Beast in the Moors and everything.
Yeah. I think so. Jimmy just liked attention. I think that's
just like a bit of abrasive sort of. He was very abrasive character.
He was very abrasive. That's the correct word to use for Jimmy, especially in the first season. He was just he was a very jealous kind of archetype as well. He was very jealous of Ridian coming in and getting all the attention, and suddenly Jimmy isn't top dog anymore. Yeah. I don't know if he ever was top dog, to be honest with you, but that's what he believed. That he was the big I am of the school. With his two cronies next to him. Yeah. You know, but so that's kind of where the rivalry, I think, instantly clicked with Ridian. And then with Shannon, I think, you know, it's like any school kids, if there's something a bit weird about you, I'm not condoning this in any way, shape or form. I'm just saying kids will be kids and kids are mean. If there's something that you're very passionate or dedicated about that seems a bit off or strange, you're gonna get mocked. So, and Jimmy just liked being the first one to do it, I think.
Well, exactly. If you show a bit of vulnerability, they're going to latch onto that, and then they're going to
exactly
sort of use it to the benefit. And then, but also, what was quite interesting was Jimmy always had a very good relationship with most of the time with Tom, mainly through the football and that, and obviously they sort of got on all right, to be honest, for most of it. But I think that was partly down to Kedar sort of in the role, and Tom was he was mates with everyone, to be honest.
Yeah, Tom's character was very relaxed, and you know, the kind of level-headed one most of the time. And obviously Jimmy being the captain of the football team, I'm terrible at football. Really? Just telling you now, when they told me I was the captain of the football team, I found it hilarious because I love football. I'm completely crazy about Brighton Hove Football Albion. And I'm sure you follow the Toon up there.
Toon Derby. Did you go to a Newcastle match?
We did. I went to go see the Europa League game with everyone. That was a lot of fun, actually. With I think it was Tio. Was it? No, it wouldn't have been Tiote. I can't remember who it was. He scored a last-minute goal.
Really?
And but yeah, so I think Tom and Jimmy, they would have their moments of disagreement naturally. Jimmy, as you say, was abrasive, but also at the end of the day, he was aggravating Tom's friends. Yeah. So eventually Tom's going to be like, no, this is ridiculous. Can you
back off?
Go away. Exactly. Yeah. Can you? Yeah.
Yeah. And that was,
but I think generally, go on. No, sorry. No, I was just saying, generally, I think those two, they didn't really hate each other like Jimmy and Ridian. So. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you sort of look at that, when you got into episode 3 of series 1, you sort of had your episode, which was, I imagine, was great when you sort of smash up the art display and everything. And that but then we think, is it Tom for his dad not turning up, or is it Ridian for you sort of, you know, not very good subject for family? So, but then it turns out to be you then. So what was that?
It was me. Yeah. It was. I wish they let me smash up the art display myself. I was like, can I go do it? Yeah. No. The art department were like, don't you bloody dare. I was like, can I go smash up the art? They're like, no. Because everything has to be set, and then they have to take photos of it and make sure it's all proper for the shot. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that episode. The bit at the end where I show that vulnerability was difficult, actually. But I'm glad that they showed some vulnerability for Jimmy, because otherwise he would have been very one-dimensional character.
Exactly. Yeah, they needed to have that at the end, and I think that was very good at the end, where Ridian sort of finds out it was Jimmy, you know, by using a violet light, and then he sort of chases after him and Ridian well, you can show you a bit scared.
I think that was nicely done.
Yeah, they did well. And Jimmy nearly crapped his pants at
there. He
terrifying Ridian.
Bobby did a really good job at that, actually, of scaring and of intimidating me and really kind of showing Jimmy up. Like Ridian did a very good job of kind of, you know, highlighting his issue there. And the guy that played my father, he was told to keep shouting at me in Cantonese, and the sound department always laugh about this, because when we drove away and I'm well out of shot, all they could hear on the microphone was him just constantly shouting at me in Chinese. Still giving it to me. There's another actor that was like, let's go a bit method with this.
Uh-huh.
But I think I'm glad that episode came about, because there wasn't too many episodes, in my opinion, for Jimmy to show multiple levels.
Yeah,
there were many times, because of he was a side character at the end of the day. I was a supporting character. And there were times when there was some vulnerability, but a lot of the time the story kind of needed to focus on Ridian and Yana and everyone else. So there wasn't time, being only a 30-minute program. There necessarily wasn't always time to explore Jimmy's depth.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think that episode really captured it well, because it showed the sort of fundamental issue between Ridian and Jimmy, that Ridian doesn't have a family and Jimmy does have a family, but they both sort of hate the positions that they're in. And, you know, that sort of end where Jimmy says, well, who would want a family like this? And Ridian obviously would have a family. So, you know, it's it shows the whole contrast between the two characters very well. And I thought, you captured that really well, Johnny, in that episode. So I really enjoyed that one. And then, so then we'll go on to probably one of the most famous episodes of Series 1, when you go to Lindisfarne, and a great episode there. And what was it like going up there, Lindisfarne, and filming?
It was amazing, actually.
It's a beautiful place, isn't it?
Absolutely stunning. I'd never been to anywhere like that, especially somewhere that historic, with obviously the monastery and the fact that in the episode as well, we talk about getting stuck on the island.
Yeah.
As a team, we nearly got stuck on the island. Afterwards, I think we made it across with about 20 minutes, half an hour at most, before the tide would have been meant we couldn't cross it.
So it's ironic, really, it happened in real life, and it happened in the episode
absolutely.
as well.
They didn't really, what they wrote nearly happened in real life. And we stayed there overnight, I think. We stayed near, we had a hotel for the night on the island, and that was a lot of fun. We as a cast really bonded that night as well. We were actually, funny enough, the group chat amongst all of us, I think it was Amy that brought it up recently. She found the video of us pissing about in one of the hotel rooms, and we just started talking about it. And I have very fond memories of filming on Lindisfarne and hearing about all the ghost stories in the where we filmed it, in the little castle hotel bit.
It was
one of the room. Yeah, there's a ghost story amongst one of them. There's weird knocking from one of the rooms that's always locked. It was
right.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what's going on in there.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, but and also obviously now what's quite interesting is, you know, when obviously Jimmy throws Ridian's bag up onto the top of one of the boat sheds, and I think the little fact about them boat sheds, actually, I think them boat sheds are originally there because I think there's a tradition, and fishermen never wanted to throw away the boats. They always wanted to keep the boats, but obviously when they weren't watertight anymore, so they used to put them on the shore, overturn them, and then turn them into just boat sheds, and they've just sat there ever since. And then,
okay, that's interesting.
But then obviously you throw the bag on top of it, and then Bobby. Well, there's another stunt for Bobby to do, and he had to fall off and that. And what was that like to do? The bag throw.
That was fun. That was fun, trying to lob his bag as far as possible.
Yeah.
And I remember the stunt guys doing that walk and everything, and the fall down. Bobby had quite a good. Bobby and Amy had good stunt doubles.
Yeah.
I think Amy's stunt. Well, I remember one of her stunt doubles being a small guy, and I was like, it was really funny because I was like, huh. But yeah, he was like similar, but it was just small and skinny basically, and it was like, well, that works.
Yeah. With a wig on him and a bee sorted.
Yeah, you won't tell. But that little scene, it's funny how, you know, and again, there's another switch for Jimmy and the boys. The fact that, you know, he's the reason that Ridian hurt himself.
Yeah.
But then he ends up helping him because I think deep down, as much as Jimmy is an arse, he is an arse, but deep down he has some empathy and sympathy, and he's not. He knows that we can't get stuck on this island, and he knows that, you know, this is my fault for trying to show off and trying to be the big dog. I've actually hurt someone here, top dog as it is. So I think he ends up helping him out.
That's for that reason. I was going to point that out, obviously, Johnny, because when the sort of Mark, who, you know, Mr. Jeffrey sort of says, "Come on, we need to get him back to the bus," and then Jimmy just instantly helps Ridian up and then carries him, helps carry him back.
So fun story about that exact scene. I remember the AD, the first AD. Again, her name, I can see her face. Oh, what's her name? She was an amazing AD as well. That day, me and Nam, she made Nam run. That was it. I thought it was me.
Right.
We had to run to the bus.
Yeah.
Right. You know, when we run there,
to
be like, oh, he's over there. And then we run off. Nam had been running his mouth all day. Right. Because Nam is very energetic and he loves to just play around. And he'd been running his mouth all day. So what the AD did is made him about an extra 150 yards further back than the rest of us. Yeah. And they were like, you need to sprint to catch up to Johnny and Neek to get to the bus. And we did that take about 4 times. So Nam was absolutely knackered by the end of it.
So that calmed him down.
Yeah, it definitely calmed him down.
Yeah.
But yeah, Linda's fun overall was actually a lot of fun. I'm glad. Oh, excuse me. I'm glad that we had that time there.
Yeah, I mean, and what was it like just filming in the Northeast in general? Obviously, I mean, you filmed Blanchland is Stonybridge in real life, and then obviously you had that. It was Hookergate Comprehensive, which is the school that you filmed in. So,
oh yeah, is that still a school? I thought they closed it down.
Yes, well, it was a school, Johnny, and then obviously they shut it down, and it's just empty. And then it was empty, and I think the dumping ground use it now and film. Because they even did it with us, and then they really did it for dumping ground. They turned the gyms into studios. Yeah.
So they built up panels and everything, so they could change it around. Yeah, I mean, so what was the question?
About how sort of the settings, you worked in, so sort of Blanchland and Stony.
Oh, yeah.
And all the sort of...
Yeah, working up Northeast, sorry, yes.
Working up the Northeast.
It was amazing, actually. I really like the Northeast. It's a very welcoming place. It took me a while to get used to your accents, I'll be honest.
No, well, I'll put subtitles for you, Johnny, if you can't understand what I'm saying.
No, it's fine. No, I understand you absolutely. There's just a few of the cabbies are really strong.
I remember you saying yes. Some of the taxi drivers are a bit.
Because you've got your local, like you've got also your local little sayings and stuff that obviously I had to get used to.
Yeah.
But I really like the Northeast. It's a very friendly place. It's a lot. The people are generally a lot chattier and a lot kind of just want to have a bit of banter. And we had a lot of fun in Newcastle. Blanchland is a really cool place. Again, very quiet, very different to where I've grown up. And
no
now
phone signal either.
Yeah, no phone signal. So you kind of had to just get used to that.
Yeah.
And I think it was a nice change of atmospheres. 3 months a year to be up in the northeast of England. It was cold most of the time, I'll be honest. But it is what it is. But because we were filming outside a lot in the woods, and
you were filming about March and April time,
which is bloody freezing. Sometimes it was snowing in April.
Yeah, well, that's what it's like up to Costa del Newcastle, so you just have to endure that. But Jimmy, Johnny, so obviously we got through that episode, and then like you said, the football episode we already mentioned was you really enjoyed that, and it was a really nice episode that I thought actually it was just a bit of chance just to sort of really just demonstrate the characters and a more sort of less focusing on the Wolfblood side of things, more just focusing on characters sort of thing.
Yeah, there was nice character building there, and
really nice
we had Kedar couldn't score for ages, so when we were cheering, that was all genuine because it took Kedar about I don't know how many attempts to score a goal, because the guys they brought in to play as the opposite football team were an actual football team.
Oh, really? Well,
so they didn't understand that we needed the ball for the shots. Right. This wasn't an actual football game.
So they actually played a game of football with you.
They thought we were just going to be playing a game of football, and they would just film it. And it was the same with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper kept we actually had to be like, you need to dive this way because Kedar's going to score in the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, or he's going to try to anyway. And the best thing about it was Nam, who played Sam. He was actually like on the verge of being a semi-pro footballer at the time. So, and he is very good at football. Yeah. So when he was on the bench, we all just found it hilarious because I was like, the only person on our my phone is on low power mode, so I'll have to plug that in soon. All right. So the only person that truly was good at football on our team was on the bench.
Really? I know. Yeah, that was the whole story, wasn't it? Because of Ridian joining the team meant that
Sam got left out.
Being left out. So yeah, it was a shame.
Mm.
But there what, and so a really nice episode, and sort of, and he obviously made up with Ridian in that episode. You sort of became like frenemies. You are sort of got on all right.
Yeah, that was a nice moment.
Yeah, nice moment. You weren't decking each other or fighting, so that was great.
Yeah, just for one episode.
For one episode, yeah. And then obviously, so we'll get to the end of series 1, and then obviously there's that famous monologue. I don't know if you remember in Blanchland, at Bernie's, when Ridian when Bryn goes in and he's sort of saying, "Oh, do you know who Ridian is?" And then Bryn's upset, so Ridian goes in and then sort of delivers his little monologue about being different, and you sort of treat everyone as a joke. And I think so. Then I think they're really sort of in the end. I think it was wearing a bit thin for Ridian, all the sort of bullying at school, and I can imagine.
Yeah, and I think, but I also think that was a very clever bit of writing for Debbie as well, because it's the target audience. That was a really good speech for them to hear, because I think it was a really it's a positive message, and it's also showing that people, you should stand up for those that are different.
Definitely.
And you should definitely protect those there, and being different isn't a bad thing. In fact, that's what probably makes you more unique, and embrace it. So if you're being bullied for being different, just stick to your guns and stay true to your heart, as corny as that sounds.
Yeah.
I think it's a very important message that, and I think a lot of teenagers, when watching that, or even younger, took on board, and I'm glad that was in there.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad that it hit home with the characters, that they didn't just brush it off. They all kind of listened to what you had to say and was like, actually, yeah, we've gone too far here.
Yeah. It cuts to the 3 Ks and they're all very serious, and then it cuts to sort of the lads there, and they're all sitting there, and it's sort of really sort of, you can see it struck a chord. But yeah, I think Debbie wrote that absolutely brilliantly, because essentially that sort of got to the heart of what Wolfblood was all about. Accepting someone because they're different, and people might have secrets, or they might not be the same.
Exactly. You don't know what people are going through.
You don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what they're struggling for. And obviously, and that's sort of partly one of the reasons why Ridian left at the end of series 1 to go and live in the wild. So that was a bit of a sort of sad ending in a way, but at least sort of taught them a bit of a lesson temporarily. So what was it like hearing that you got a second series, and that you were going to sort of, Wolfblood had sort of really took off and it's sort of been accepted? What was it like?
It was, it was a phenomenal feeling. When I finished season 1, I was left in the house with Neek and Bobby. And when we finished filming, I didn't know if we were going to get picked up again. None of us did.
Yeah.
And I personally had formed such great relationships with everyone, and I had such an magical time filming this TV show. First season, it was all very new and exciting, and there was a big production behind it. And I was genuinely really upset that when I left to come back home for good, because I didn't know if I was going to see all these actors again, and my friends. Basically, I formed good friendships with everyone, because every job that I've worked, genuinely, I do keep in contact with people, but you don't really see them much necessarily. Life gets in the way and people are busy. So when we found out that it got picked up, I think it would have been around, because it would have aired like 6 months later.
Yeah, it aired September 2012. Yeah, it would have been.
Which is pretty good going, because if you think about, we started filming in March. By the time block 1 was finished, we were filming block 2. They're already editing. So to get it out in 6 months is very impressive.
Oh yeah,
especially
good turnaround.
What turnaround. So I think it was about October, November time we got the green light, and we all were ecstatic. I mean, I can't express to you how excited we all were. And to find out that Disney eventually wanted to buy it and then take it worldwide was a step that none of us saw coming, to be honest. We didn't know how this show was going to land, and the reception from the fans and the love that we got was just overwhelming. And I still am very grateful to it, because I didn't know how it was going to be taken. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if this teen fantasy was just going to be a kind of like a lot of people trying to compare it to Twilight, and I was like, no, much
completely different.
No, we're nothing like Twilight.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen Twilight personally, the films. I don't need to see Twilight. I'm sorry if there's Twilight fans listening right now. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's just we were so excited, to be honest, to be together again, to find out how the stories are going to progress. We kind of hoped with the way it ended as well, with Ridian leaving, that there would be some kind of resolution. As well, so that needed to be resolved, and then they brought in Leona, who played Yana, which was a big new character.
Really
and
big.
she was great. She was a really great addition to the show, and I think it added a new dimension to having the whole idea of the whole where these wild Wolfbloods came from, and kind of more of a backstory of Ridian and everything. And I think it was I think season 2 was great, to be honest.
No, to be honest, Johnny, I think series 2 is my favorite series of Wolfblood out of all of them. I think it was the strongest, and obviously you had the full cast still there, and you had great writing, and I think the storylines were brilliant. And I think when you look at the sort of the direction that they had in series 2, I really enjoyed it. And I can imagine it was great when, obviously, like I said, Disney picked it up. It was the first CBB show to be broadcast, to be brought internationally, and sort of shown on Disney Channel. And then it's got fans all over the world now. I mean, you see there's like people from Brazil and Spain and Germany. Well, obviously it was half a German production, and in America, and people loved it. But I think the sort of Wolfblood came at a very good time, because at that sort of time in the early 2010s, that you'd had Twilight, and obviously, like you said, it was Wolfblood's now like Twilight, but it was that sort of people were really sort of getting interested in werewolves sort of things at that time, and Wolfblood had just come out, and Teen Wolf was out in America, which is a great series, and that and sort of thing. People were there was a bit of sort of werewolf mania at that time, so I think it came out at a good time. And then obviously, like you said, it was series 2 was obviously where we got quite a lot of awards. Wolfblood, you got RTS awards, you got
it did.
ANF award, got Bobby got won his BAFTA, I think, because of series 2, and Amy got nominated for a BAFTA, and and Debbie got writing awards and everything. So it was, I think, series 2 was brilliant. So it was. So got into that, and obviously with Ridian's return, so you seem to get decked, Johnny, at the start of every series with the sort of judo incident.
It was. I think it became a running gag by season 3.
I think it did, probably.
Yeah. The whole judo scene, so that it was really funny, because they asked me, they're like, Johnny, do you do martial arts? I said, yeah, I do Wing Chun Kung Fu, which is based from Hong Kong, from Ip Man, who there's films about Ip Man, but it's basically what Bruce Lee started to learn, and then he made his Jeet Kune Do. I can't remember what Bruce Lee's martial art is, but and Wing Chun's kind of one of the traditional kung fu's. So I was like, okay, we're gonna make you do judo, which I mean, it's not even remotely close. Judo's about throws and grabs and things, and Wing Chun about deflections. And so I was like, okay, let's give me some judo lessons. So they gave me and Kedar and Bobby some judo lessons, which were fun. And when Bobby, actually, it was me and Kedar mostly, because Bobby didn't really need the judo, because he just lobs me across the hole.
He just chucks you across the hole,
which was actually me throwing myself. I said earlier about, the victim needs to overdo it to sell it. I actually overdid it too much.
You went halfway across the hole.
I missed the mats.
I know you were right at the edge.
Far. I basically hit the edge of the mats and then smashed my ankle. So then when I came back, I was like, okay, I need to go slower. But when Bobby held me, so began the saga of my right ankle and getting hurt all the time. So that was fun. And then
the best bit was with Kedar, who played Tom, to do the scene at the end.
Oh yes,
we had a whole choreographed moment about of how to do it, and Kedar really enjoyed throwing me. I know he did.
Yeah, Kedar really got a good hold of you then, threw you down.
He did. It was a lot of fun because that head, he kind of, the way the guy that choreographed it was like, what you need to do is push him back slightly to make his head go back, and then hip throw him.
Yeah,
and it worked to perfection because on camera it looks like he really he did get a good hold of it.
Oh,
he
really did, definitely. Yeah.
And then obviously I learned how to land so I wouldn't hurt myself. And then like smack the ground at the same time, so it makes more of an impact. With the sound. But I know Kedar really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, it looked.
enjoyed it too.
It looked good fun. And that weren't tempted to take up judo after that, or did you stay with you?
I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't take up judo after that. I was like, I like judo, and it's a great martial art. Don't get me wrong. I was still pursuing kung fu a lot more.
Yeah.
At that time.
Nice, yeah, and obviously Nick and Norm, obviously you sort of see a lot. Well, you see a lot more Nick in series 2, and obviously Norm working with Norm as well. What was it like working with them lads and sort of making sort of your two sort of sidekicks, sort of do character development on scene?
Yeah, they were great. Nick's a very funny guy. He lives out in LA now. He has done for a little while. And he's a very funny character. He as a person, not his actual character, Liam. He was great to work with, as is Nam. Nam got more to say in season 2 for sure.
Definitely.
He improvised a couple of lines, like when I got thrown in the judo thing and he goes, Jimmy! he completely improvised that. That was not scripted. He just decided to throw it in, and the director found it really funny, so I was like, can you do it again?
Yeah. It was quite good in that. It was quite good in that scene actually, because if you look at Kedar and Louisa, Kedar's like laughing his head off that you've just been decked, and then Louisa like digs him in the corner and sort of tells him off for laughing. So that was some good improvisation in the background there. And but Nick's a great guy. Like I said, I've met Nick a few times because he's from Newcastle. And I remember talking to him when he described Liam as a proper knob. So I think that's a good. I think that's a very blunt way of putting it. Hit the nail on the head as well. So
until you get his more character development when he becomes like the actual, you find out Liam Hunter and the whole Wolfblood Hunter background.
Yeah. Because his name actually wasn't going to be Liam. I think it wasn't Liam Hunter. His original name was. I think he had a different second name.
He had a different second name.
Yeah. And then they changed it to Hunter.
It was only ever seen as a prop on the front of a book.
Something like that, yeah.
Unless you're really looking, I'm sure there might be a Wolfblood Wikipedia page you picked up on trivia. Yeah. Maybe they've noticed that. But yeah, he then became Liam Hunter, which probably wasn't the most imaginative second name, let's be honest. But hey-ho. You know, the backstory was very cool though. That it made an extra element of threat to the Wolfbloods, which I thought was very clever. And it was the second season where we're in the tunnels, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was at the end of the series. Yeah. And Johnny, that worked really well. And I thought it's sort of the classic sort of storyline of getting a hunter, but werewolf hunter in the background. But the way they sort of wrote it in, I think they did put a new twist on it, which was really sort of really good way of doing it. And Debbie did a great job at sort of introducing that. So yeah, and then obviously Leona runs on the scene there. Yana comes in and she's a bit of a wild character at first. Obviously she's a wild wolf. So then Jimmy has a few run-ins with her, sort of when stealing apparently she steals some meat from your dad's hotel in the show, and he sort of challenge her for it, and then you end up like chucking food or chucking food at each other in the canteen, and that, if you remember, sort of chucking the beef and the dessert and everything, and just what was that like?
She dumps a tray of food over my head, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, so I think she has I think you get like gravy and beef all over you, and then I think you like rub like some cake or something on her face.
I remember. I do remember that now. That was gross, to be honest. But it's what they do. They had a change of clothes always set for me. I think we only did it like 2 or 3 times maximum.
Yeah. You're running out of costumes.
Yeah, running out costume to clean and my hair to keep cleaning.
Yeah. That was so you got some. Well, I suppose it beats being thrown around. I suppose it was less painful.
Well, yeah, but she put the cream on my face as well.
Rub it. I think it was gravy or something. She rubs into your face or something. So, yeah.
Because
so
I'm pretty sure at one point, I don't think it made it. It didn't make the cut, but at one point she did do that and slap me in the face. Like as she did it, she like clocked me, and I was like, oh, okay.
Moving to series. Getting through series 2 and that, obviously Top Dog is quite a good episode where where there's the student elections, and I thought that was quite a good episode for teaching youngsters politics and sort of you run as a candidate, Leona runs as a candidate, Amy runs as a candidate, and I think that was it. I think that was it, wasn't it?
Wasn't Tom? No,
Tom didn't run.
So there wasn't the cave, one of the caves.
Oh, the cave, yeah, one of the caves ran. That's it. Oh yeah, they ran on the platform of. I think sort of remodeling the school uniform or something. So,
or something. And then Jimmy was just for the boys, which was obviously
for the boys.
Stupid. The picture, by the way, of me doing like this, was the art department screwing with me. Because I used to mess around with the art department. Jonny Tolson was the head of props. Oh, no, he wasn't the head of props. He was a props assistant, and he was like OCD with his desk. So I would always go in occasionally and just like move stuff around and just annoy him.
Being a pest, and Johnny.
There was another art department girl there who I was always talking to. I'll be honest, I was flirting a bit with. Yeah, I was single. I was like 20 years old. Obviously didn't go anywhere. Of course not. It was just a bit of a flirt. And she just thought like we took loads of pictures, and she was like. At one point, she took my picture and was like, "Can you just do a stupid face or something?" And I was like, "I did that." And Jonny Tolson was like, "This is my moment to get revenge on Johnny."
Yeah.
And I suddenly turn up, and then there's these massive posters of my stupid like smile, like with that, and it was so funny because everyone enjoyed it. Yeah, so this is the other reason why Wolfblood was such a great job. Is the crew were amazing. They were a bit older than us, but not like much older than us. But they were all kind of experienced enough to know what was going on, but also, had a laugh about it. And there was a lot of banter amongst us and the crew, and it made working just joyful. Like honestly, it didn't feel like work.
Yeah, and Johnny, and you can see with that episode as well, where on the posters and that, obviously we had a thumbs up, and then you ended up getting kicked out of the election because you were giving people a $5 to vote for you. Can you remember? Mark has it on the whiteboard, and Mr. Jeffries shows you it's extortion. You're bribing people for voting for you and everything. So, yeah,
that's such a Jimmy thing to do, though.
It's just probably nicks his dad's money and then gives it to people for vote for him.
So funny.
Yeah, so you were using blue on the posters as well. So I don't know if that's a message as well for certain political parties that use blue.
Oh, let's not have any relation to that. No
relation to that.
So the only reason we got free money recently is because of the pandemic. They would never do it otherwise.
Yeah, you're not been signing any dodgy contracts or anything.
No.
So yeah, and then obviously this is what you mentioned before, Johnny. At the end of series 2, that's when it's parents' evening, and Ridian and Yana and Jimmy are all grouped together, and because I think Liam and Sam bugger off somewhere, and so you're left with, and then you see like Yana's off a nut, and then Ridian didn't take too kindly to that because I think he had a few things on his mind at the end of series. Series 2 that his girlfriend was potentially going to have to do a runner, so he ended up. That's when he jumped over the table and then landed on you. Then another stunt to do there.
Another stunt, that was quite. I knew the mat was there, but they're still rocking back on a chair and voluntarily getting like fallen back is still somewhat scary. But it was fun.
Oh, it looked fun, yeah. And then obviously end of series 2, there we go. Obviously, Maddie famously leaves and that. And you drew that werewolf Maddie on the whiteboard. Probably the art department did it, but you can see there.
Definitely wasn't me. I can't draw. Yeah.
But and then you drew that on the board, and then that's when Ridian jumped over the desk. Like he actually jumps on top of the desk, runs across the classroom,
Yeah,
and then decks you in that one as well. I hope you got extra. I hope you got extra pay for all these. All this concussion.
No, it's part of the contract, mate.
Part of the contract. There we go. You should. You can either Did you get a renegotiation for series 3 or not?
No.
No, nothing. So yeah, so there we go.
No, I should have done actually. I should have spoken to my agent.
Yeah. And obviously you move into series, the end of series 2, obviously Liam's sort of going on about his werewolf stories, and then Neek, Neek sort of, as Liam, he sort of left as his lone, and Sam and Jimmy sort of abandoned him a bit over his werewolf stories, if you can remember, through going through the tunnels and everything. They didn't believe a word he said at the end.
The tunnel scene, I wish we filmed a lot more in those tunnels than they showed.
Really? What happened?
There was more between me, Liam and Sam in like dialogue of us getting lost and kind of really like figuring out if this is a good idea, second guessing everything, and that we filmed like a whole day in those tunnels, which it was very cleverly shot actually, because it was like these moving tunnel sections in the gym, which they could move around to make look like different tunnels. And then when there was a whole scene where we discovered this like cave, which I don't think it made the cut.
No, it didn't make the cut. So you discovered like a cave, yeah?
We discovered like this kind of cave with stalagmites and everything like that. And Matthew Evans, who was one of my favorite directors, he's the most like lovely guy and a real actor's director. And what I mean by that is he really spoke to the actors and tried to get the best out of us, and not only was worried about the vision of the show and everything, but he really took time with the actors as well, which we appreciated as well, because not every... We understand that the directors are very busy, they've got a lot to do, so there's that, for them to take that extra 10-15 minutes and just pull you aside and make sure everything's okay. But the cave, there was a very old camera trick of putting like a model in front of the lens and then shoot through the model to give like the effect of foreground and everything. And there was a whole scene of like that cave that we discovered, and I remember that. And then I remember when watching it back, I was like, okay, that all got cut, never mind. I understand for time. But that was a shame that they didn't stay in, because that was one of my favorite days filming.
Yeah, I mean, and just saying about Matthew Evans, I think he directed some of the best episodes of Wolfblood. Actually, sort of similar when you actually see the scenes he shot, like the last scene of series 2, where Louisa, Bobby, Kedar, and Amy are all on the moors and then they leave, and that's probably one of the most beautiful scenes of Wolfblood that Matthew directed. And you see the sun setting on the moors and just got absolute perfect weather. And
they were really lucky with that.
Really, really lucky with that. But yeah, no, Johnny, I love me sort of walking and rambling and walking and that, and the absolutely beautiful area that. So they picked a great location to sort of shoot the end of series 2 up there, and I think Matthew did a fantastic job directing, like just
I agree
in terms of the lighting and everything for it. They got it perfect. So bam, into series 3 then, and you got into, what was it like when you heard you were going to get a third series? You thought
it was, we had more of an idea that series 3 might happen earlier than we did season 2, with the success of season 1, and obviously with Disney picking it up. We had an idea that season 3 would happen. We knew about Amy quite late, that she wasn't going to return. And so they kind of started then pushing Yana to be more of the main character. And the story kind of then moved into more of the outside world rather than the school. So that kind of started leading them down the path of change, I think. Season 3 for me was a bit quieter. I was excited to do it. Obviously, I wanted to come back up to Newcastle. I wanted to see everyone, and I wanted to be back on set. As you know, as an actor, you always want to be working. But I was in less episodes and less scenes and things. So it was kind of, I had a lot more downtime when I was up in Newcastle, which wasn't terrible. I was chilling out with Nam and Neek a lot more, and we were working, but Liam or Neek had more of a development. That was the one thing that I do wish Jimmy had a bit more development. I understand for timings and story wise, it wasn't there. Jonathan Wolfman, who produced the third season onwards, he was the assistant producer in the first two seasons, I believe, and then became the main producer. He never found out that I played saxophone until we finished filming season 3, and to this day he still goes on about, Johnny, you should have told me. And I was like, because I brought my saxophone up in the third season and everyone heard me play it, and they was like, why didn't you say anything? And I was like, well, it's on my CV.
Read me CV.
It's on my CV, it's on Spotlight, and it's, you know, it's there. But he was like, you should have told me. And I was like, I didn't know how to bring it up. I didn't know when would have been the opportunity to go, oh, by the way, I can play the saxophone, you know, when on set. But he said he would have tried to incorporate that more, because there was a nice idea that, you know, 10 years down the line, Jimmy was in some like jazz bar, you know, being a musician. It's completely like mellowed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would just be a funny turn of events.
That would be quite good. Because like you said before, Johnny, obviously you were sort of the main antagonist really in series 1, and then obviously series 2 was sort of move on. Alric's sort of the main sort of antagonist after Ridian, and then obviously series 3 it sort of moves into like Segolia and sort of Alex Kincaid and Victoria Sweeney and all the sort of characters in series 3. So it does, like you said, it does sort of move out. But I mean, you still, obviously it would have been nice. Like, I mean, where would you sort of like to think that Jimmy would have gone? The sort of in Wolfblood, would you like anything? I mean, would potentially any love interests? I mean, the 3Ks never got any partners, and I think
there was a love interest between Jimmy and I think Cara, who was Rachel.
It
was played by Rachel, I think, because I can never. Sometimes I can't remember. There was Cara, Clara.
It was Cara, Kay, and Katrina.
Katrina. See, I mean, we always pointed out to them having the 3Ks might not be a great.
It wasn't so good for the American market. Let's say.
But for the Americans would have been a bit like, what the hell? There was kind of a love interest between Rachel and me and Rachel that they'd get cut, and that would have been season 2 of the dance episode.
All right, were you trying to invite Cara to the dance?
Yeah, and, that whole side story it was like the C story, and Jermaine Julian, who was directing that episode, was just like, Johnny, I'm sorry, it would have been lovely to include it, but for time we just couldn't. I also couldn't dance, not because I can't dance. I actually physically couldn't dance in that episode because I'd torn the ligament in my right ankle.
Oh, nasty.
I was wearing football studs indoors because the costume department insisted that we had to wear shoes going from the costume department to the set, and I was like, you realize it's laminate flooring and I've got football studs on, this isn't a good idea. And she was like, no, what if you tread on a nail? I'm like, yeah, well, what if I break my ankle? And I did. I was kind of, that's why in the changing rooms after the football scene you see me with my leg up. Is actually because I genuinely needed to have my foot up. And they had to rewrite the scene because I was supposed to come into that scene and they were like, actually, Johnny, you sit down because you can't walk properly.
But it was a great episode, that in series 2 with the dance and that. And actually, I think Julian did a tweet along with that episode in 2020.
Jermaine and got his drone shot in. He got his drone shot in.
Drone. And Return of the Mac.
Absolutely.
That was one of the funniest scenes, honestly. When Cara storms off the stage because they find the records, because obviously they were trying to frame. It looked like it looks like they've been cheating on Shannon. What's his called? Who Dean Bourne plays? Harry, that's it. It looked like they sort of framed it cheating them. So then they run off the stage because they're not too happy about the sort of plots being found out. And then Mark runs on the stage and goes, J-Man's here, y'all. And then he puts Return of the Mac.
Yeah, he puts on Return of the Mac, which to this day, when I listen to Return of the Mac, I can only think of Mark dancing.
Dad dancing.
Yeah.
That was, it was quite a good episode.
Jimmy now, I would imagine. I reckon he would have listened to his dad a bit and gone to university. But I feel like he would have been in the corporate world somehow.
Corporate world. Well, there's that famous line at the start of series 3 where he's at the fair and he says, "Oh, don't worry, I'll be a millionaire before I'm 25" or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's kind of, and I mean, that's not. I don't think that's because he earned it. I think he was entitled, and his dad had lots of money.
So, Cult of Tom, where Kedar takes the Wolfblood serum, and then he sort of gets into the sort of cool crowd, and he's sort of trying to impress that. And then Kedar was on the roof of the school. Can you remember? And you all stand around in the yard.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that. We all came up onto the. Yeah, that's all right. We're all in the playground. He's on the roof getting the trophy, isn't he?
Yeah. So, yeah. And then,
I remember that. Yeah, and then he does that handstand, which obviously wasn't. Because they had to find one of the only black stuntmen that was around up north, and this guy had just come from like James Bond and stuff. He was like legit.
Really? So he was
like,
really good
his
stuntman.
CV. I remember still listening to his CV, and I was like, God damn, he's been on big films. And what are you doing here?
Yeah,
like,
he looked really good.
Like the whole of north of England. So
yeah, look, actually saying about series 3, Jimmy actually accidentally nearly let the Wolfblood secret get out because he tells Dr. Whitewood in the cave where Ridian lives, and then that's when she goes and kidnaps Ridian, and then nearly gets him to the town square. Went on the full moon, so that could have Jimmy could have got a bit of a shot then if that actually ended up happening.
Maybe you'd know this more because you were maybe on the Wolfblood forums and fan pages and stuff. Did people notice that Dr. Whitewood had changed? Surely they did.
So a lot of people noticed. Well, didn't Dr. Whitewood look different in the new series? So I don't know. I think they got away with it purely on the basis that in series 2 she was much more of a minor character. I think she was only in 1 or 2 episodes. I think she was in 2 episodes or 3 episodes. So I think they got away with that. But I don't think it wasn't really anything major. I mean, I think that's something.
No, I mean, I think the original actress, if I remember correctly, she got pregnant.
Did she? All right.
And then I think either I don't know if she got injured or there was nothing wrong with the pregnancy. Don't get me wrong. It was just like I think there was a reason why she couldn't do it. So they brought in Letty, who was amazing, and she really added, I think, a different element to Dr. Whitewood. And
she was really good playing.
She was amazing, and she added that kind of slight psycho element to Dr. Whitewood as well.
Definitely at the start of series 3. Yeah, I mean, you sort of look. It was quite funny actually because Dr. Whitewood was actually a lecturer in series 2. She was actually a lecturer at Northumbria University because that's where they filmed the scenes where Bobby goes and gets the dog chew with the DNA on it. And it's actually filmed at Northumbria University, which is my university that I go to, and actually filmed that episode of them running out the science labs there. So I thought that was great. That actually included, actually used one of the universities to actually sort of in the episode. That was brilliant. Johnny. So we got through series 3, and and then sort of at the end of series 3, the sort of thinking it would have been great if Jimmy had went up to Ridian at the end of the cave, and then do you think maybe shook hands or maybe said a few words because it was right at the end and they were literally just across the cave from each other? And I thought it would have been great if they just had a bit of an interaction after they'd finished school.
I think that would have been a nice touch.
Yeah.
It really would have been. It was a shame that Amy wasn't available to just come back for that final little scene as well.
Yeah, it would have been.
I think it would have been a nice resolve. I think for the 3 years of kind of rivalry, if Jimmy kind of accepted fault and showed just a hint of character development in the sense that he's done some self-reflection.
Yeah, I think
and he's realised maybe the errors of his ways, not completely because he was quite self-absorbed, but I think that it would have been a nice touch for him to just as a kind of. I didn't know that was going to be my final goodbye either. We did. Originally, I know that the 4 main actors, Louisa, Kedar, Bobby, they were kind of saying that 3 seasons might be the most they do.
Yeah.
And so it didn't really make sense for Jimmy to come back.
Yeah.
Once they'd moved out of the school,
Yeah.
There was no need for Jimmy to be there. I would have loved to have gone back, to be honest. But for the story, it didn't really make sense for him to be there. So
yeah, I mean, I think the only way that they could have really got another series is if they sort of decided to stay at school and they sort of went into like sixth, say if Stonybridge High had a sixth form and they sort of stayed and did the A levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think maybe if Amy had stayed, we might have got a fourth series.
I think if Amy came back or something, there would have been a fourth season, but she didn't.
So they just had, and then they had the two. They brought in obviously the second cast for the series 4 and 5. But and then obviously at the end, Jimmy, well, he sort of says, well, where would Jimmy be now? He said he would be in a jazz club, or he would be potentially. I mean, at the end, he said that his dad was proud of him, so that was a nice little thing that they put.
Yeah, that was a kind of resolve there. I think he would have used his father's contacts to start a business, or probably gone to uni, and I don't know. I feel like he would have gone into the corporate world.
Really, yeah, because he did see he might manage the. He said about the Liam and Sam said they were going to set up a paintballing centre, so I don't know, man, it might have a paintballing empire now, maybe. Maybe
he's like taken over the northeastern in the paintballing world, which is quite fun. To be honest. That's actually more fun than I expected Jimmy to be running a paintball field or something. I think I feel like I feel like he would have still been friends with Sam, but I don't know if he would have kept contact with Liam. I don't know why I say that. I just feel like because it depends which path Liam would have taken.
Yeah.
Because like he was in season 3, he was still pretty adamant about the Wolfblood stuff, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if you do, but Liam finds out the secret at the end of series 3. Yeah, so I mean, I think, to be honest, Liam, he would have stopped probably being such a bit of an arsehole, and he probably would have, as Nick put it, a proper knob, and I don't know, he might have started being a bit more of a nice.
He might have started helping them out.
Yeah, he might have given them a help.
He started helping them and had a change of heart, which meant he would have kind of moved away from Jimmy, because I don't think Jimmy ever believed it.
No, Jimmy. Do you think Jimmy ever had any inkling what was going on, or what was why was Ridley?
He was pretty clueless, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a pretty clueless guy. I don't think anyone would have told him, because they would have think he would have run his mouth. He would have tried to use that knowledge and to overpower someone. I could just see it.
Yeah, use it for bad.
I think he would have done.
Yeah, I know it was shit, but so, and then obviously BAM series 3 ended, and then so obviously that was, and then obviously we had the different cast, but then you said obviously you didn't feel really like coming back for series 4 and 5 because you'd sort of done your bit, haven't you?
Yeah, once they announced that they were going to try to change the story, we kind of all started moving on. Like I said, I would have loved to have gone back, but it wouldn't have made sense for Jimmy to be there in the way that they'd written the season 4.
Yeah.
So,
and did you keep any props or any costume or anything from series?
Wolfblood? I've got a top upstairs that says Wolfblood 3. It's just like a plain black top with and I've got some of the merchandise. Not merchandise. We're talking about merchandise. It was like crew merch. It was like a beanie hat. I had an umbrella. They gave us an umbrella, but like everyone with umbrellas, everyone needs an umbrella. Sorry, guys. I had a Wolfblood hoodie, plain black hoodie with Wolfblood on it from the first season. Mine disappeared during I don't know where I lost it. I honestly, to this day, I'm really gutted that I lost that hoodie, because it was
left it in Bernie's or something. Left it in Bernie's or something.
Well, God knows where. Yeah, mate. Honestly. And then I did have quite a lot of the costume from season 1 or 2. I've got a couple of jackets and jumpers that I've still got, because Karen McGinley, who was the head of costume for season 1 and season 2, and then it became Ryan and season 3. They were like, "Do you want to buy any of the costume? Obviously, it's been tailored for you. You've got looks here." So I bought a load of clothes just to kind of update my wardrobe that I used as my wardrobe for a long time. That might have been a reason why during the immediate years after Wolfblood had aired, I got recognised a lot, because sometimes I was dressed as Jimmy just because of my clothes I had. Yeah,
that would have been great. It would have been nice if you kept your green tie or something like that, from your
well, they anything that would have been reused, like the uniforms or any props that they thought they would they might need, they would keep hold of.
Really? Yeah, they didn't use green ties or then shirts or anything in series 4 and 5.
That's true, actually. No, you're right, actually, because as soon as I moved out of school, I didn't think about keeping the green tie, to be honest with you.
Would have been good, no. But yeah, good old, you get your Brad Linton high uniform. But yeah, it was it's good that you got to keep some stuff and some mementos and that. So yeah, so there we go. So obviously, what was it? So were you a bit sad, obviously, that that avenue sort of ended, but you were sort of smile because it happened sort of thing. It was a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was. It's a perfect way of describing it. I was sad that I wouldn't get to do it again, and that now it's time for a new chapter, and I ended up changing agent as well after season 3. And it was just kind of, it felt like that chapter had kind of closed, which I will forever reminisce fondly.
It's just happy memories for, like, even for fans and the cast. It's just like something to always go back to. And I mean, the fact that you're still working, the Wolfblood cast still works together now on new projects is just amazing. It just shows how good you got on, just how well you bonded as a cast. And the directors as well, like Jermaine and Matthew and a few of the others have rehired us for other parts. Jermaine used Louisa and Kedar for Death in Paradise. I'm pretty sure Bobby's, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Is that about a certain detective show?
Yes,
I know. I think this is going out a bit earlier, so we might not be allowed to say.
We won't say then.
There's been no more. I'm not going to say any more about that.
Because I don't know what his exact part is and everything, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so I won't say anything about that. But yes, they've been very kind to us over the years, and we will always be grateful and think fondly of those days.
And did you think? I mean, do you get recognised a lot from playing Wolf for being in Wolfblood?
I did for the first few years, actually. From probably because it aired 2012, didn't it? And I finished in 2014. So I'd probably say I occasionally, rarely still get recognised now. I mean, after
the beard and that now, Johnny, and that. So you've got
with the beard, and now I've got long hair. This is the first time in my life I've got shoulder length long hair. I don't really look the same at all anymore. In fact, when I went paintballing back in July with Bobby. Bobby got recognised.
Well, Bobby still looks. I mean, Bobby looks older, but he pretty much looks the same. He's still got the spiky hair. Me
and Bobby got recognised by one of the staff. Funny enough, because she both looked at us and was like, "Are you off a show or something?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then Bobby then got recognised by a bunch of kids that were there paintballing. And none of them, I don't think, realised I was there as well, which was really funny. They were asking Bobby for autographs and stuff. And then Bobby was like, should we tell them that Johnny's here too, or should we just leave it? And I was like, don't worry about it. They've asked for you, Bobby. Go and give them the autograph and everything. But that's probably, but before, I actually used to get recognised more than Bobby, because Bobby used to wear glasses all the time and have a beard. And then Bobby
grew his hair after Wolfblood, and he sort of turned.
He did. For a little bit, he had kind of similar length hair as I've got now. And it was really nice, actually. There are times when people would just stare, because they do this kind of weird thing where they half recognize you.
And so probably a bit starstruck as well. They don't know how to approach you, because you're some people who are a bit more shy.
Mate, dude, I've said this multiple times, and I'll always say this: if you recognize me and don't be starstruck. I'm like Z-list. I was on a kids show 10 years ago, right? I'm just going about life. Come and say hello. I'm always going to say hello back and take a photo if you want, or just have a chat. I'm more than happy to. And I know the same about everyone. Louisa, Kedar, they're all genuinely nice people. Definitely. They're very kind-hearted. That's why we all get on so well. And it's just funny though when you get stared at, and then that's why they're staring. But you also, I'm not going to go up to them and be like, "Yes, I
played Johnny in Wolfblood. You didn't recognize me."
I'm just not going to do that, because then you just seem like an arrogant dickhead.
Exactly.
And what if they're not doing that? What if they're just staring at you and thinking about something else? And that looks even worse.
And that's the thing. And then, so Johnny, obviously there we go. So it's 10 years next year for the anniversary of Wolfblood. And it's quite funny, actually. BBC Three is actually going to come back broadcasting next year. So I don't know, BBC Three will be looking for some new shows, and I think that's the perfect
if BBC
demographic.
Three are listening, I'm available.
Yes.
And listen, we could do Jimmy's jazz expeditions.
Jazz paintballing show.
Yeah, jazz paintballing show. But I need to talk to the cast about like what we're gonna do next year. I think something like what you're doing at the moment, the podcast, and some kind of, if there's a way of getting as many of us together as possible. And obviously quite a few of us live in London.
Yeah.
We don't all keep, like, I haven't spoken to Gabby in a very long time. I bumped into her at Notting Hill Carnival a few years ago. I've been meaning to catch up with her. I know that Gabby, because she played Kay.
She played Katrina.
No, Katrina, sorry. Yeah. She was a lot more pivotal in the later series, right?
Yeah, she did. She sort of became one of the main characters in series 4 and 5.
Yeah. And so I know that she bonded really well with the other guys as well. So, but if there was a way of doing a reunion, I think it would be a really good thing. I think it would be a really nice thing if the actors from season 4 and 5 came and met us too.
Yeah.
Because I've met a few of them, but there's a few I've never met. I'm good friends, funny enough, with a girl called Ruby Barker, who's in she's in Bridgerton.
All right, yeah.
Plays Marina Thompson, and I met her in Ascot, weirdly, working. We were both working, and she came up to me and was like, "You were in Wolfblood," because she was in season 5 for a few episodes, we've become really good friends. And but I think some kind of get together would be really nice. I don't know if there'll be anything filmed. That would be a Debbie question.
It would be Debbie. Debbie, are you listening?
That would very much be a Debbie question.
We want a film. Are you going to get your film, or we're going to get the Wolfblood film, do you think, Johnny? Because I remember this. Well, there's been some murmurings about that, but I'm not sure.
There's always been murmurings of a Wolfblood film. We even spoke about it when we were filming season 3. We're like, wow, 10 years time we should do that. And that time has now come.
Yeah, come on. We better start filming now. Get yourself up to Newcastle.
To get up on the moors and. I mean, we'd need to speak to ZDF in Germany and get the CGI company back on board.
Yeah.
But I think it would be it'd be a lot of fun to do something like that again. Would
you be happy to do something like that, Johnny? Like
I'd be overjoyed to do something like that again.
Yeah.
Just to reprise all the characters again and that whole world to reopen it up again to see what's going on now. I don't think we've aged too much, but we have visibly all aged.
Yeah, you've definitely all aged. But I mean, to be honest, if you're somebody who like that had a shave, you cut your hair a bit, and you would look not very far away at all from the cast. And that goes for Bobby, it goes for Kedar, goes for Olia. So yeah, I think it would be great to see you all back again. Even not, just it's still up the northeast, but in just a different setting, whatever you're doing these days. So yeah,
I think it'll be. We'll talk about it. Definitely. I'm not. Before, if anyone gets excited, I cannot promise anything, and I'd say at most we might get is like a teaser or something, just as a for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know, CBBC might do something for it. Actually, they might have a run of it.
I should we'll email Jonathan Wolfman, the producer, see what he thinks.
Yeah, see what he says. So then, Johnny, so there we go. Post Wolfblood, and obviously you've been working on a few different projects there. So like I think your little poetry film that you made, Representation, was brilliant, and that sort of proved the point that the cast still work together.
Yeah. I still need to thank you again, actually, because of you watching that, and you got me my poetry book.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
mate. No, it was a really, really kind gesture. I'm nearly finished it. I've been reading the poems and kind of going back over them, and I just genuinely want to say that was a very kind thing to do, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, I know that the other guys, I really appreciated their little gifts when you came to the track.
Yeah, that's the least I could do, to be honest. Because
mate, honestly, that really touched me. And I will forever be thankful for that.
Yeah, because I just tried to think of something that you'd like, and I know obviously you have Hong Kong heritage, and obviously that's what you talk about in Representation, and then obviously you're talking about you love a poetry, so I thought that was perfect. So
mate, it was perfect. Even my girlfriend was like, "God damn, he's better at giving gifts than I am." So yeah, let's see if she steps up her game. She's upstairs first. But representation, yeah, that I'm very glad and happy that everyone agreed to help out. And logistically, it was actually more difficult getting everyone together because Amy at that time was filming in Leeds,
right?
And she agreed to come from Leeds, which I was like, wow, okay, because Amy sometimes is very difficult to get hold of. And Kedar is even more difficult to get hold of, and he was in Paris the night before.
Kedar's doing brilliant at the minute, with he's in sex education and everything.
Say again?
He's in sex education and everything. Kedar,
he is. I mean,
he's doing brilliant at the minute.
Kedar's a very, very busy man.
Yeah.
And he came from Paris that morning, and came straight to set, which was in where was that? I can't even remember now. Where did we film that? East London, North London. Jeez, I can't even fucking remember. And it was in Ruby's house. Yeah, where was it? Was it West?
It was West London. It was a beautiful house.
It was an absolutely stunning house.
Yeah.
I think it was West London. You don't find houses like that in East London. Sorry, East London, but that's not.
Sorry to all East London listeners and viewers there.
yeah. Sorry, guys, but no, you're not finding houses like that in
Hackney.
Yeah. But I'm very thankful for them to all come together, and they were all there for me to help see my vision come to life. And I'm very proud of that short film. It was a lifelong goal of mine ticked that I wanted to produce and direct something. I never thought that I'd have something that I wrote also as well. So to have the director, producer, writer, and I pulled it all together in a week.
Really, you did a great job there, Johnny. And obviously, I'll put the link at the end of the video for it, and I'll put the link in the description if
please do. Give it a watch.
Great. But also, the great thing is, Johnny, you eventually got to deck Bobby in that short film. It was the other way around. You could turn it right.
I didn't even think about it like that. Yes, I did, and I even did punch him for real when we were rehearsing by accident. I can there's a funny video. I'll send you that video actually.
Oh, will do. Bobby nearly busted his nose or something.
No, it wasn't too bad because you see me react when I do that, and I actually punch him in the face. I'm like, whoop. I'll send it to you. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I did get my revenge on Bobby. I get to punch him in the face like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Bruce Lee, exactly. And then obviously, Johnny, you worked on a few different projects after you finished Wolfblood. I mean, working at the RSC on Snow in Midsummer, that was it. Yeah. What was that like working at the RSC?
That was a really big learning curve experience because that was the biggest stage production I've been on since probably Glyndebourne Opera House when I was like a teenager.
And it was something very different as well for you because obviously you'd done a lot of work on screen, not so much work on stage as well.
Yeah, but I actually started out on stage as a kid. And it was actually quite nice to have those roots back again.
Yeah,
I did a show back in 2014 called Usagi Yojimbo, where I was the lead in that. And so doing Snow Midsummer was a big learning curve. It was hard work, really hard work, even though we had 6 weeks rehearsal time, which is very long for a play. Normally you get a month tops. And the RSC will work you to the bone, especially if you're doing the Shakespeare season. If you're doing the season, then you will expect you'll get paid very well, but you will work very hard for your buck. And I think it pays off though, because every production that the RSC have done is brilliant. You know, they have such a good team behind them. They are a really good production company to work for. And yes, I was tired, and yes, I worked very hard. I would do it again. And I enjoyed doing that play. It was a very cool modern adaptation of a very old Chinese ghost story.
Yeah,
I think Frances Chao Ching. Oh my God, I'm murdering her second name. Frances did a wonderful writing job. She was amazing in the rehearsal room, listening to us and then redrafting and everything as it was new writing. And she was a great writer, and the cast were brilliant. Katie Leung was fantastic to work with. She's very experienced actress, obviously from Harry Potter and other things that she's known. She worked with Jackie Chan in The Foreigner on Netflix.
Amazing. Yeah.
Which must have been an amazing experience. She told me all about that, and it was we had a good cast. It was a very mixed kind of cast and age and experience, and then how we come together. I think we did a good show, and we got some really good reviews, and it was lovely to be on such a renowned stage as well. Okay, it wasn't the main stage of the one in Stratford-upon-Avon, but the Swan is still a beautiful stage, 400-seater. That was mostly, I'd say, at least 2/3 full, if not full, every night. So to have that kind of crowd come and watch constantly was humbling, to be honest. It was nerve-wracking, but it was really a really great experience, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, something that really tick off your bucket list, sort of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then obviously, Johnny, you got on the did Trafficker, which was sort of back on the big screen, and
that was before the RSC, so that would have been 2013. I filmed that, but obviously it didn't get released until 2020, I think.
It got released a lot later, didn't it?
Yeah,
I can't remember the release date off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it was 2020 or 2019 would have been the earliest. It did go to a film festival in Madrid, where I went. I was nominated for my only ever award in my entire life. Which
well done, Johnny. Good on you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a really cool experience to go to an award show and a film festival and meet lots of like-minded people. And I had a really great 3 days in Madrid. I'd never been to Madrid before, so it was a really cool reason to be there. And Trafficker was, you talked about scripts earlier when we were talking about crying for the lady. That film, when I read the script, we were filming season 2 of Wolfblood near the end. I remember it being May, and I remember sitting in the green room bawling my eyes out. I remember just reading it, just going, oh my god, this unbelievable script. And I went into the audition room just being like, I have to get this part. Like I need this part. So I did my best Aussie accent, which I believe is still passable. I hope. I was, and they cast me, and I'm very grateful for that. And that was a really, again, back in Thailand, I filmed that, and that was a really harrowing story. It's not an easy watch, that film. It's beautifully shot by Larry Smith, who worked with Stanley Kubrick on Eyes Wide Shut. So that was an amazing person to work with, who directed, and I learned a lot off Larry about how to shoot things and how to work as well. And such a small budget, I think it was a really good film. And I think Ollie, who edited it, did a phenomenal job. They went through quite a lot of re-edits and difficulties producing it, but I think they eventually got it right. I know it took a long time, but it was a really moving story, and I'm very proud of that, actually.
Very happy the way it came out. And then actually move on to where our paths cross, Johnny, when we filmed the track at the start of 2021 this year. And that was a great short film for Augusta. If just for people who are listening and watching, it's a short film on homelessness. It'll probably be coming out at the end of this year, and it's Augusta Woods wrote it, and she stars in it, and that's Bobby's girlfriend. So anyway, what came down to London for that, and that was a great little short film that we worked on. I really
and Louisa directed it.
Louisa directed it, and Bobby's the executive producer for it. So
So it's, you see the fact that we're all still working together. I know that we all helped on Kedar's film as Sizzle, and eventually when he makes it into a feature, I'm more than happy to help him on that. And the track was a great day. It was really good that you came down from Newcastle for that, and I think it was a really lovely day. And I hope that I think Augusta got everything she needed from it, and I'm pretty sure they did. I think they're gonna. I think it's going to do the festival circuits relatively soon.
I don't know if they're going to release it. I don't know. I haven't talked to Augusta, but they might release. Are they going to release it on YouTube like Louisa did with her film?
Her film, The Call Center.
Yeah, Call Center. Yeah, which you were in about that. Yeah, as well. Forgot about the Call Center. There's great. You are on the phone there ringing for selling life insurance.
I'm in it for all of about 2 seconds.
Yeah. So, and then Mark was back there as well, bossing you about in that. He was like the call center manager as well, wasn't he? So.
That sounds like Mr. Jeffries, good old Mark Fleischman.
Good old G, man. Appreciate that. So, have you got any interesting projects in the pipeline at the minute? Anything you're working on?
My poem Curiosity, that's on Spotify, the jazz lo-fi beat. We're gonna make a video for that soon. That all came about because of representation. That's the only thing poetry-wise for me. I know that Gus is producing another short film, Bobby's Girlfriend, and I know that Bobby's helping out with that. Louisa was she directing that or something? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I know she's directing that specific one. But I know that they're doing a few things. Me personally, no, I'm very available. If any casting directors, anyone's listening, I'm more than happy to do that. I would like to get into theatre more as well. I'd like to be back on stage. But obviously, any opportunities that come my way, I'm more than happy to do. I will be on the BBC Radio 4 at some point. I've recorded that already.
Is that for poetry? Some poetry?
No, that's not poetry. That is a radio play.
All right, brilliant.
That will be called The Good Earth. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about it right now. I think that's going to come out end of the month or so. That will be a radio play. I've voiced a couple of minor characters, but that was fun. That's the only other thing for me down the pipeline. And again, that is an avenue I'd love to do. Doing radio would be great fun. Doing these podcasts is great. It's a great way of I'm very chatty.
Chatting. So that's great to chat and have a good catch up and that, exactly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
I think,
mate.
Yeah, and I was saying before though about Augusta's making a second film. I remember Bobby mentioned that to us, so I might be working on that one hopefully.
It'd be great.
It'd be good. I don't know if you bring you on board for that one as well, so we might be working with each other on that one as well.
That'd be great. Let me know.
Great. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that's great, Johnny. Great chatting with you, and all the best.
All the best, mate.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Always a Pack podcast. It was brilliant to chat to Johnny about his journey in the industry. You can find me on Instagram at George Kasfikis and Johnny at J_Raggett. Please follow Always a Pack podcast on Instagram and Spotify. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe.